Hello, how are you? All well, I hope. So today I'm going to be reading some posts from Am I the Butthole? Again, one of my favourites. So if that sounds like something that you would be into, feel free to listen along. Leave any comments that you have, any views you have on these posts that we read in the comments below if you want to. And yeah, let's get into it. So first up we have Am I the Butthole for my boyfriend kicking out his mum? Straight off the bat, not sure why it would be your problem if he did it, but we will read on. I am 27F and my boyfriend is 33. We will call him Hunter. We had been living together for almost a year until his mother begged us to let her move in due to her boyfriend getting thrown in prison for theft. Okay, that's quite a strong start, isn't it? I was okay with it at first, but Hunter was super against it. Everything was fine for a few months, but then slowly things started to go downhill fast. She would bring her grandbaby over every single day she had off, and the grandbaby was autistic and would not sleep at night and would scream and cry and break Hunter's things in the room that we allowed his mum to stay in. And she never replaced anything the grandbaby broke. His mum then started to beg us for money as soon as we got paid and would barge in our room at the ass crack of dawn screaming and begging for money for kratom. What is kratom? Do I even want to know? Then she would take clothes that still had tags from her boss's house because she worked as a housemaid and try and sell them at clothing stores that bought new used clothes. She sounds so chaotic. Her boyfriend would call 100 times a day and would blow up our phones if he couldn't reach her and harass us to get her to answer. Had to block the prison number. She refused to help us move to our apartment and packed her things at last minute. She also refused to help clean the last few days we had at our old apartment, and we ended up having to pay a $300 fee for a cleanup. Oh, she sounds like an absolute nightmare. We finally had to kick her out because she had us constantly help her out of situations she can handle herself, like setting up a new phone or helping her help someone else, etc. It's hard to list everything in great detail. But then the final straw was Halloween of a few years ago. She ended up getting pulled over for speeding because her speedometer was broken, and then she got taken down to the station because her license was revoked for some reason, and apparently she didn't know. Okay. My boyfriend and I were planning this party for months, and we were inviting co-workers and friends, and she ruined it because she kept calling and screaming at us to come help her instead of calling her grandbaby's parents, because since the grandbaby was with her at the police station, she was afraid she would never be allowed to babysit again. We cancelled an entire event for her, and once again, I had never seen my man more angry than that night. This is really hard to read, by the way. Really hard to read. But, what the hell? Turn your phones off? Block her phone number? That's what I would have done. Like, oh, too bad. You got yourself arrested. Tough. We kicked her out as soon as she got home, and she threw a huge tantrum and threw things everywhere and left. We had to change the locks and communicate with her on setting up times for her to pick up her things because we found some of our things she was trying to steal hidden in a box in her room. She's a nightmare, isn't she? We haven't spoken to her in almost 3 years, and it's been so blissful. I can imagine. She has said some really nasty things to Hunter I will not repeat, and things a mother should never say to their child. Hunter refuses to talk to her until she apologises, and she tells everyone it's my fault she got kicked out, so am I the butthole? No! It's obviously not your fault. I mean, I love that she's like, I have a feeling when they said kratom, I have a feeling maybe that was like drugs or something. So she's doing things like that. She's getting herself arrested for speeding. She's had her license revoked before. God knows why, but I hate to speculate. I will, though. I bet you it was for like drink driving or something like that. And then she's been stealing. She's stealing from her boss. She's got her boyfriend from prison harassing you. Like, yeah, definitely not your fault, and you are not the butthole. And she sounds like a whole mess that you should definitely be very glad that you've got to leave behind. Let her talk her stuff. Let her talk her stuff to whoever she wants to, because anyone who knows her enough to have to deal with her is going to know that she's clearly a nightmare. I wouldn't worry about it. And oh my God, she sounds insane. Am I the butthole trying to settle a point? Okay, so I really have to put this out there and ask. My significant other has 3 children total, 2 with 2 other women and 1 with me. His daughter used to come and stay every other week with us. Then her mother decided she didn't like that because she told her mum she wanted to live here full time and not with her mum. Her mother cut her off from being able to even come over just for visits, not even staying the night. That's dodgy. Resulting in my partner having to go over there to see her in public places. This is not the problem, however. The issue is that we currently had to downsize to a 2-bedroom instead of a 3-bedroom. I'm having trouble finding work and we couldn't afford the 3-bedroom home. That being said, she never gets overnights with his other son, just visits during the day, but he's okay with that, clarifying why his other son didn't have a room to begin with. Due to us downsizing and our son being under the age of 3, we gave his daughter the room and had our son staying in our room in his crib for the time being. However, now that his daughter has not been allowed to stay overnight or come over in 3 months, I told him I think it's only fair we make that room our son's room. He is worried about turning it into our son's room because he's worried about her mother making us look bad for taking her room away even though she's not allowed to be here. This is causing conflict between him and I and our relationship. I think it's a little ridiculous because his daughter's not even allowed to come over, so she's not even going to see that the room is not hers anymore. I told him that once we get back on our feet and we moved into a 3-bedroom, it would not matter. He thinks it's necessary to tell her about it and the mother, and I think it's unnecessary because it's only going to cause more issues, and I don't see the point in making it known to them since neither of them are going to find out either way. Am I the butthole for this? It's a tricky one, really, isn't it? Because on the one hand, obviously, I understand why he wants to keep the room for his daughter. He wants to keep the door open for her. But if the mum's not allowing it anyway, then it's like, if she's not going to allow it, then you may as well, for the time being, just make it into your son's room. However, what I will say is I'm unsure of your situation, but if it was me and my kid was being kept away from me and not allowed to come to my house, I would be going to the courts to get access granted to be able to have my kid in a bit of custody and have them over at my house. I wouldn't be sitting there just going, oh, well, she's not allowing it, so that's that. Like, your fella can, well within his rights, take her to court to get custody. Like, not full custody, obviously, because I'm sure he doesn't want to take her away from her mum. He just wants to be able to have her over. So I would say you're not the butthole for the way you're thinking about it. Your fella's the butthole for obviously not taking action and taking her to court. The kid's mum is a butthole for stopping access for no reason just because she didn't like that her daughter liked it at your house better. Makes me wonder why she liked it better. And yeah, everyone needs to just grow up a little bit. To be honest, when there's kids involved, you just have to grow up a little bit and just be like, no, we're gonna make this work. I can't be keeping my kid from one parent. It's not nice. Unless there is a real danger or threat, there is no reason to be doing it. So no, you're not the butthole. Your partner kind of is, and his ex definitely is. Am I the butthole for forbidding a friend of mine to stream my D&D game to Twitch? Oh boy, this headline needs a lot of context. It does, and I can't wait to hear it. I wanted to make a D&D campaign for my closest friends and had finished all my preparations. We set a date for the first session. Everyone was pretty hyped up, and I was excited as well. The day we were supposed to start, a friend, let's call her Lisa, girlfriend of one of my closer friends, let's call him Fabian, asked if it would be cool to live stream the session of Twitch. Some of us were reluctant, wanting to groove in with each other for the first session without an audience, myself included. Yeah, I get that. I would feel very, very awkward if I knew I was being live streamed, for sure. She argued that her viewers would miss the lore if we skipped streaming the first session, and that the story wouldn't make sense without it. For context, her Twitch channel has at most 10 viewers. That's fine, everyone starts somewhere. After some back and forth, she said, either we stream the first session or we don't. I replied, then we don't. Once the group gathered on Discord, everyone was excited, but noticed that Fabian and Lisa were delaying. After 20 minutes, Fabian joined, clearly upset, saying that we'd hurt Lisa's feelings. Apparently, she was sobbing and couldn't speak, so he spoke on her behalf. She sounds very dramatic. He launched into a tirade, especially targeting me for talking down to her so harshly. Oh, grow up. A female friend of mine who was pregnant at the time and another female friend defended me, going through our chat history and pointing out that none of us had said anything problematic. Fabian countered that our tone was harsh. Well, we felt Lisa was reading too much into our text. Yeah, just a little bit. Fabian and Lisa decided not to join, so we played the first session without them. Though the group was a bit tense, afterward, the discussion reignited in the chat rooms and private messages. The two girls and I discussed how to proceed, as Fabian and Lisa wanted nothing to do with them after how harshly, dismissively, and angrily they felt we had spoken. They are very dramatic, very dramatic. I tried to mediate, but eventually I wanted to get it over with and encourage both sides to speak directly to each other. This only escalated things, especially when a comment was made about the pregnant friend's baby. What? That went way too far. Why? I do recognise I was on the one side of the conflict, and Fabian and Lisa criticised my wording and bias. The conflict eventually made me cry in front of my colleagues at work. The fallout was swift, the D&D round was cancelled, and my friend circle split in two, but sadly, this isn't the end. My best friend, let's call him Zach, met with both sides separately and heard out their perspectives. He concluded that both sides had made mistakes and tried to encourage them to apologise, but neither was willing to compromise or see the other's point of view. Now Zach and I both want to stay friends with everyone, but each side resents that. In Lisa's view, I'm no longer a friend due to my treatment of her and for being friends with both girls. Meanwhile, they are upset with me for wanting to stay friends with someone who treated them so badly. For now, this is the status quo. Yeah, no, Lisa sounds really dramatic, and I think I'd bin her off personally because she basically threw a tantrum because you said no to her streaming your game on Twitch. If not everyone is comfortable, then you don't stream. It's simple as that. Like, she seems very dramatic. Fabian's basically sticking up for her because he has to. Otherwise, he's probably going to be sleeping on the sofa. But no, it all seems very dramatic, and you're definitely not the butthole. All you said was, no, you can't stream our session. Like, take no for an answer and move on, Lisa. Jesus Christ. Oh, so dramatic. Okay, so this next one is actually from Am I the Devil, which is basically where people take posts from the Am I the Butthole subreddit and they put it on Am I the Devil, because essentially the poster is always the bad guy. With the others, it's like sometimes they're the bad guy, a lot of the time they're not, whereas these are posts that are basically just where the actual poster is definitely the butthole. So yeah, hopefully this one will be very interesting. So the person who reposted it has actually captioned it saying 10 years she strung along her friend. Interesting. Anyway, let's get into it. So it says, am I the butthole for telling my friend I hate her after she found out she wasn't invited to my party? I, F25, have known this girl, F26, for 16 years now. I will call her Abby. We initially bonded over a similar taste in music and were in similar school activities, so naturally we became friends, and were mostly in the same group from middle school all the way until now. However, since junior year of high school, I knew she wasn't ever going to be my favourite friend. Strong words to start off with. That is 10 years of not finding her funny, not thinking she adds anything valuable to conversations, and getting drained by her pessimism. My goodness. And insecurities. I chose not to say anything because, as a young teenager, I didn't want to lose any friends. I never wanted to cause drama and have naturally drifted from her later in life, so I thought it was never necessary to bring anything up. I honestly didn't think any of her redeeming qualities were worth it to work on things with her. After knowing her for 15 years, I never thought she would change because it is who she is at the core. I valued keeping peace in our friendship group more, so I acted like things were okay. Even though every day I grew even more frustrations with her as she continued to rub her insecurities onto others and also made a good number of friends uncomfortable with her comments and actions. Wow. Yesterday, Abby consulted me because she found out she wasn't invited to my birthday party. I did hang out with her a different day to celebrate. She just wasn't invited to the main event. It was my birthday and I didn't want to be uncomfortable, as most of my interactions with her at this point were completely one-sided. It's like when you find everything annoying and stupid about an ex or a sibling, but yet she was still friends with my friends, so I felt like I couldn't do anything but confide in a few people close to me. Oh my god, you are such a dick. After she consulted me, I let everything spill. Not every single offence or negativity I saw, but a lot of the overarching concerns like insecurities and boundary issues. Abby, of course, was in shock and upset. I totally expect that. She said, if this is how you treat someone you once cared for, please reflect on your own life. Absolutely. Well said, Abby. But I'm not treating anyone else like this. She was just a special case, even worse. You're basically bullying her and she didn't even know she was being bullied. You're a complete horrible person. Horrible. Okay, maybe not a completely horrible person. Everyone has nuances. But you're very horrible in this situation. So, am I the asshole for not saying anything earlier? Should I have tried to fix the friendship when problems started 10 years ago? Yeah, you should. It's fine to find things about someone aggravating, annoying, or, not like certain things about someone. If someone's doing something that you think is wrong, it is your responsibility to bring it up to them and say, I don't like what you're doing, and talk it out with them. Otherwise, it's a you problem. If you don't bring it up, it's a you problem. You're just going to have to deal with it. How is she ever supposed to work on the things that you perceive as an issue if you don't tell her that there is an issue? So you've basically villainized this poor girl for years, not told her that there's any issue, just villainized her in your head. And for what? Because you just don't like the way she is. Okay, don't be friends with her then, or talk to her about it. Let her have the chance at least to correct things if you think that she's done things that are so wrong, which basically solidifies in my head that you're the problem and she really isn't. You've just decided there's something about her you don't like and you're gonna treat her badly for it without her even knowing and slowly single her out, which isn't acceptable. No, you're definitely the butthole, and I can understand why this one is on Am I the Devil, to be honest. Okay, so this is another one from Am I the Devil, and the person who posted it in there put creating drama out of thin air. So, am I the butthole for suggesting to cancel Xmas so my future sister-in-law can focus on her wedding? My brother-in-law is getting married this December. His fiancée pretty much does not share anything about the details of the wedding to the family. She cancelled the ceremony without talking to us and just decided to have an intimate ceremony at their church with just an immediate family, and we'll just have a reception in December with the extended family. When the family keeps asking what the plan was, and if there was anything we could do to help, she would just respond, "We got it, just attend." But over the weekend, my mother-in-law kept pushing to get more details since we are not getting any response from her. I suggested we can cancel Christmas so that it's one less thing to worry about, I imagine that's meant to say. My future sister-in-law responded, "Please do not use my wedding as a reason to cancel Christmas." I was shocked and honestly hurt. My mother-in-law came over the weekend and I shared my feelings. I shared that it makes me uncomfortable now going to the family events with my future sister-in-law there, and maybe I will not go at all. Apparently, this was relayed to my future sister-in-law by my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law just wants to make sure that everything is okay with future sister-in-law. Future sister-in-law messaged me and my husband with the screenshot of my mother-in-law's message. She said that she had no idea that it was an issue. She was just being honest of what she said and did not appreciate that we are bringing drama to her on a Monday morning. My husband responded, which pretty much denied that I threatened to not come to any family events, that he has no idea of where it was coming from, which I think made it worse. But you kind of did threaten that though, didn't you? Because she responded that we need to figure out amongst ourselves who is lying, my mother-in-law or my husband. She is too busy for the unnecessary drama and to remove her from our narratives, whatever that means. Then she blocked the entire family. Don't blame her. Just don't even mess with the drama. Don't mess with the mess. No point. My brother-in-law texted us that the December intimate ceremony is cancelled and that they are getting married this Friday. Our family is flabbergasted of what just happened. My brother-in-law told us that he is sad of what happened and part of it was his fault. He failed and turned a blind eye on how my in-laws were treating his fiancée, thinking she would get used to it like I did. My in-laws are known for indirect insults and backhanded comments, but what transpired over the weekend, is an eye-opening for him. He made it clear to us that he was the one who suggested to not have any of us at the ceremony because it is also his fiancée's wedding and he wants his fiancée to be surrounded by people that love and support her at her wedding day. Fair. He also made it clear to us that to not even dare to ask him to choose between his fiancée or family because we will not like the answer. If we have issues about it, then that's our problem, and that he will never talk about this anymore unless we apologize to his fiancée. But the entire family do not even know what we did, and the entire family thinks that the reaction on what happened over the weekend is a bit much. So am I the butthole? That was really hard to follow, but it sounds like because they've not given the dates or the plans when you've decided you want it, you've all thrown a paddy, said, oh, well, we're not coming, we'll just cancel all events then, we ain't coming to any of your events. And she's just gone, not messing with that. We'll do it our own way. So yeah, you're the butthole. Very dramatic, very unneeded, and I absolutely love that her fella is sticking by her and gone, yeah, well, you can all get stood on then. That's really good, because you don't see that very often where the partner actually sticks up for their future wife or future husband. So I like that. That's really good. I love it. So I'm going to leave that there for today. I have some bits and bobs I now need to go out and do, and I really don't want to because it's freezing cold outside. But I need to get some stuff for tea later, so I'm just going to use food as my motivation. But anyway, if you've listened along all the way and you've made it to the end, then I really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to give the video a like, I'd appreciate that even more, because it will help me out in the algorithms, or so I believe. And if you want to subscribe and listen to other videos of me waffling on, pure nonsense, then do also feel free. I would also really appreciate that. Anyway, I hope you have a really good day, whatever you're doing, and hopefully see you again soon. Goodbye.